so people can choose whether they want the stick pack or the container. So awesome. And I'm so glad that Energize got such a huge round of applause, because coming in February, we will have a neighbor. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Energize Fruit Punch. So we did a bunch of surveying, and this one came out on top, and it tastes awesome, and I can't wait until you guys can taste this, which will be today. So before the team building, right outside of the team building, we will have Fruit Punch Energize available for you. We'll actually have a little film crew there to capture some of your responses, so that is really awesome. It tastes fantastic. But Jeff, that's not all. These guys want more consumables.
Don't give it to them.
Oh,
We
is it
have
vegan?
a few more things now. I'm sorry,
Vegan
some of these
for
things we're going to tell you when they're coming, but we're not going to tell you
Please be
exactly
vegan recovered.
what it is. So we have a top secret product that will be coming
I bet it's vegan
in
recovered.
April, okay? But we can't tell you what it is. It's top secret. Does anybody out there like vegan or plant-based? That's just good to know, but we're not going to say anything.
And we have never let anything out early either. It's never slipped out from us.
Ever. And then Carl actually mentioned this, but at Summit, we think we have a doozy coming at Summit. And this is going to be something that is going to be really big. We are really excited about it. We're working really hard to get it there. And so you can see that as far as both from an event perspective, from a fitness product perspective, we've got Portion Fix in there, and we've got a whole slate of nutritional products coming. We are set up for success. You guys agree?
Woo!
All right, but Jeff, you know, there's a reason why we've put together this agenda.
Well, again, as I mentioned, it's about growth. And it's about giving you some predictability on how to grow your business. And Carl started out today talking about this concept of the enrollers. And we look at this what's called an enroller pool and moving those numbers up. And he shared that our numbers right now are average about 22,000 a month. And you talk about doubling. And just so you know, our high ever has been at 48,000. So when he talks about doubling,
It's possible.
it's within our wheelhouse.
Yeah, you know, and Jeff, just again, an enroller is simply a coach in any given month that has one success club point. You know, that creates one start. So, you know, Carl was back there, we were talking about the other day, I just, back of the napkin, was doing a little math. So this is kind of rough math, but I was thinking, how could we create an incremental 82,481,302 additional coach earnings in a year? So that's just approximate number.
That's an approximate number.
So how do we do that? What would get us to that extra $80+ million in coach earnings? Well, it comes down to, again, approximate numbers, but if we could get just 10,013 additional enrollers
Approximate.
every month, approximately, this back of the napkin stuff, we can do that.
Good.
So now, 10,013 enrollers, it sounds like a big number, but when you break it down, we looked at some of the numbers, and there is a tremendous amount of opportunity. We took September's enroller pool, and we broke it down by ranks. And just to give you an idea, not surprising, but our 10 to 15 star diamond group, they're pretty good enrollers. 84% of them were in enrolling activity. The rest were on vacation that month, but and then our next group, Jeff?
Yeah, so our 5 to 9, 76%. So a respectable number, but again, some opportunity. And remember, this is just one HD start in a month.
That's right. And then we drop down to our 1 to 4 star diamonds. 47% of our 1 to 4 star diamonds are in enrolling activity. Pretty good opportunity for growth there.
And diamond, and you'll see the numbers continue to go down a bit, but a third, 33%.
So 33% of our diamonds. So 67% of our diamonds are not in enrolling activity. We have opportunity there. We drop down to our ruby phase. 18% of our rubies. Those 7 rubies out there, only 18% of them are in enrolling.
But we know who they are.
Yeah.
So. And of course, then there's the emerald, 16% of the emeralds.
So lots of opportunity there. And then
The biggest
of
opportunity.
our coaches, 2%. So 2% of our coaches are in enrolling activity. And again, people are doing great work. but there's still lots of opportunity, because if we put some targets against those, what kind of targets would we need to get to those 10,000 incremental? Well, it would look something like this. At our 10-star, 10 to 15-star diamonds, 5-star and above, our leaderships, let's get 99% of those guys. That's not a lot of number, but let's get those guys in enrolling activity every month. Our 1 to 4 stars, can we lift that from 47% up to 75%, 3/4 of them? I think we can. Our diamonds, can we move it from 33% to 50%? I think that there is that opportunity. Our rubies and emeralds, can we move them up to 25% of that base every month in enrolling activity? And our coaches, can we just move that from 2% to 4%? If we do that, that would equal that 10,013 approximately coaches, additional enrollers. That would create roughly $80 million in incremental coach earning activity. So, that's easy, those are numbers, it's easy to say that. But how do we get there? And a lot of it starts with that bottom rung. That bottom rung, if we can start to implement what Kim talked about, if we can get that systematic approach to the business and start moving more people as they enter the business into success, into enrolling activity, everything else will roll up in terms of those numbers. So that's part of the focus, that's part of our objectives as leaders, is to how do we make this move from the ones on that side to the numbers on this side. So
yeah, and I think the opportunity, when you look at these numbers, of course they're big numbers, you say, how do I impact that? Well, you impact that by first being aware of these are the numbers, and then starting to look at your organization and asking, how do I train? How do I onboard? How do I bring these people, into the business? And you'll see that we as a company will start to put more and more emphasis on this enroller pool by some of the promotions and things that we do to help drive that. But it's going to happen in each one of your individual organizations. And as I started this morning, I made the point that out of this 500 people that are here, you represent the 360,000 coaches that we have. And so really, when I say it starts here, it starts here. But then the responsibility together with us is to get that water and that messaging and those best practices and implementation to the end of the road to get that 10,000 number. We've just picked arbitrarily, but it's a good number and very doable.
And so to get there, we're going to ask you guys to really dig in at this leadership event. We're going to ask you to take all of the training that you're going to hear in just a few minutes from some of our very successful, highly successful coaches. We're going to ask you to think about that calendar that we put in front of you just a minute. We're going to have you think about how can we implement a systematic approach to bring our new coaches on board. And then, if you're like me, people ask me to do that, and then they say, hey, that's your homework, and I never do the homework. So, we're going to have a little homework session here tomorrow.
Yeah, so tomorrow what we're going to do, at the end of coming back from lunch, we're going to have a round table session. So, in essence, what's going to happen, you're going to move from lunch, you're going to move into another room. We're going to have about 60, 70 tables. They'll be grouped by basically rank or years in the business, and we know there'll be a little bit of fuzzy and that kind of thing. That's okay. But the intent at each one of those tables is you will be provided with a quarter, okay, with a calendar and with some pieces that, all of this stuff on it that you'll have, but also some of the other things that you need to be considering in that quarter that could get in the way, that could help you as you execute during that quarter to leverage your business. And so for about an hour tomorrow, you'll have an opportunity to sit, to brainstorm, and to actually do your homework on this sheet, and then we'll do some best practice sharing, and then what we'll do is we'll actually gather all of them and we'll distribute those on the round table so that everybody has this year-long calendar of best practices, and you can use that as a template as you go back to your organization to get this thing going. So the idea is we give you the entire calendar, we give you some of the best thinking of this group, and then you can go back and execute and get the water going down the road.
All right, well, we know that you guys made an investment to be here. We want you to get the most out of this conference that you can, so let's just keep going, Jeff. We got great content. You kick it off.
Okay, with that, we're going to invite a superstar diamond coach to kick us off on this, Ashley Laughlin. Give her a big hand.